All right. Well, welcome everybody to another episode of Strategy Discussion, Clear Strategy Discussions. Today, David, if you haven't met me yet or see me in the chat on the Discord, I'm one of the Clear Edge support team and creator of Kairos Strategies. And this is Kevin. Kevin's the
Hello.
creator of, yeah, go ahead.
My name's Kevin.
What your role is?
Elevated in the Discord. Creator of the Market Ninja, Market Ranger.
Yeah. So crazy stuff this week. I was doing great in some accounts, other accounts not so much. And to top the week off, I get banned from Top Step. So that's kind of the cherry on top of just a tough few months where it's been the market has not been super kind to everything that I've been doing. It's not like those times when it feels like everything you touch is gold. And it definitely can start to get a little bit frustrating, but as traders, we manage those emotions and don't let them override just our sense of risk management and just sticking to our plans. But yeah, so I guess so how was your week? What was your highlights of the week? What did you run? What did you kind of see could use some improvement? Just overall, what was your feel for this week?
Well, my expectations for this week are a little bit different than how they turned out. I made the new gold settings for the Ninja last week, and I was pretty pumped about them. I was like, okay, these are a good change. They're following, what the current market's doing a little bit better than some of the other versions I had. So, felt good about those and started running them, and they didn't do so hot out the gate. They actually managed to recover one day this week. I think I looked at the report and it was actually, I think slightly green for the week, but it was a tough one to stick with. I'm not going to lie. I think definitely a little frustrating, looking at the report and then, having some of those expectations. But I think that's one of the things that we wanted to talk about today, especially for newer people automating, right? Like, we look at these reports and we see, we get the benefit. We've talked about this before, but we get the benefit of kind of seeing the performance of these strategies, play out before we even run them, right? So in our minds, we're kind of having these expectations. Oh, well, this is 78% profitable, and this just made $20,000 within the last 30 days. Like, I'm going to turn this thing on, and that's what it's going to do. Mm-hmm. And this week has been an awesome testament to, kind of getting out of that mindset, right? Like, yes, us as automated traders, really our big advantage is having these reports and hoping that the market continues to follow these patterns that we identify as traders and we set ourselves up for, but with proper sizing. But unfortunately, that just doesn't always happen, right? And we have to understand that, especially if you're new, that it doesn't always go to plan, but you just need to size appropriately and stick with it. That's the most important thing. And, after a couple of weeks, if, maybe you didn't get it right and it's really not going well, or, maybe an account blows and, you kind of start tweaking some stuff around and find something better. There's nothing wrong with going down that path. But things do have to play out, and they unfortunately don't always play out like the past. Like I said, like the reports that we get to see, pre-hand before even trading, right? When you're a normal manual trader, you can backtest, collect a lot of data, and the good people do, but like, we don't really get to see those big numbers in front of us. We do in a way from maybe other people if you follow them on X or something, but we don't have that psychology with these expectations right up front. And then when things start to go not our way, we start to just, oh my gosh, something is completely wrong. Like, let me undo the whole plan I just, worked so hard to build, or let me undo the whole back test or settings that I, worked so hard to figure out. So, but I will admit it's been a tough week. The gold, like I said, it kind of did its thing, but also the Ninja MNQ, it's had its first rough week in a while. And unfortunately, again, we have a lot of new people in the community. And it was a little tough to, for everybody running that this week for sure. But I took a look at what it was doing, and came up with some ideas, studied it a little bit. So I've got some things I'm working on. Already put one of them out the other day with the Vixen, the big candle filter to that script. So I've got a couple more ideas looking pretty good in the back test so far. So yeah, we'll get that out this weekend before market open next week. And, hopefully we'll just have a better week overall with that one. I was running some Kairos stuff too, or Kairos stuff. And that did well this week. Super happy about that. So some MES settings, or some setups were did well there. I think you were running some gold, maybe, David.
I did, and it pooped on me on Friday.
Oh no!
did great all week, and then just wiped out everything in a day. So, well, one of them wiped out everything. The other one I think was just small red for the week. So the 2-minute settings, I'll have to. Oh no, I can't anymore. Top Step completely locked me out of. I had them on some accounts on Top Step for like practice stuff, and then I had them on a Tradevate account with Blue Sky. I had them two of the static fund, or not static funded. They were just static evals. So I had them on 2 of those, and it wiped out just like everything on me for those accounts. But the Top Step accounts, I'd been tracking it for longer because I'd thrown them on practice accounts like immediately when I first created them.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, if I could look back at those, I would probably see the 2 minutes were probably maybe with 3 contracts that I was running on it. I don't know, probably $200 to $300 in the red, maybe $400, and then the 1 minute I think had like a $1,600 loss today with 3 contracts, and it was probably up. Probably, I don't know. It was probably up $400 for the week. I'm not 100% certain. So that was a big loss for that day, and I was running the 1 minutes on my evals. So
Yeah,
that was a bummer. But I mean, honestly, it's just one day. If we could have a great week next week. And with the 1 minute settings, I optimized them on the 1 month. So my expectations were not super high. I wasn't like, okay, I get to run this for a month or 2 months or 3 months. I'm looking to get a couple good weeks out of it, maybe a week, and just get a couple evals passed with it. That's really all I was looking for from those. And just so I could run, because I run Market Ninja M&Q on my Blue Sky funded account. So I was looking for something that I could run on more evals with Blue Sky and not be caught hedging.
yeah.
So that was the only reason I was even looking at GC, because I don't really like GC that much, especially right now with like I had one loss that was like over 2 times where my stop loss was. That was just from one candle, just shooting past my stop loss. So I don't know. That happens in NQ too. So I mean, but ES really rarely happens in ES. So I tend to like ES the best. If I can find good settings for ES, that's what I like to run and I want to run. NQ is more just kind of fun. Like you can get just crazy runs to where it's just like constantly triggering trades and it's just constantly taking winners. But the flip side of that is you can have massive losing streaks or big wicks that wick you out, or tons of other things that can happen with NQ. But yeah, those are ES settings that you and I have been running with Kairos. You can say Kairos. I say Kairos because in school that was my minor, was languages. So Kairos is the Erasmian pronunciation for the Greek. It's ancient Greek, Koine Greek. So modern Greek has different pronunciation than that. So I mean, it's saying it Kairos doesn't really matter.
I'll try to say it correct though. Kairos. I'll have to.
It's not even correct because we don't even know what the ancient Greeks pronounced, like how they pronounced it. So it's a guess. It's completely academic. Like it's a guess for what the pronunciation is, and we're almost certainly wrong on it. So it's just what you learn in school. It's just that's the only people that pronounce Greek that way is people that have taken those Koine Greek classes. But yeah, so I mean, for the most part, take a look again. The ES one, I mean, I'm up in all my accounts that I had running that. I have like 5 Bolinux accounts that I'm running with that. I have, let's see, I have an eval with Blue Guardian that I started this week.
Okay.
I've looked at them for a while, but I just never really pulled the trigger on buying an account. So they had a sale. I bought one. Top Step still has me paused, so I've been looking elsewhere quite a bit. I still, there's no other prop firm that I like the rules for payouts more than Top Step. Lucid is the only one that kind of comes close,
Mm-hmm.
but even they seem to have a couple things that like I have a funded account with them, and so I hit my 5 days, and it was in the one that takes 2 days to pass. I think it's their pro account or flex account maybe. It's the
Yeah, I think
one
it's
you can't
flex,
pass it in one day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's and then it doesn't have consistency rules at all. So you just have to hit your 5 days. So I hit my 5 days. I think my account balance was, I don't know, 1,500 or something, and I was like looking at taking a payout, and it didn't even have the option to take a payout. So I reached out to support. He said I was under my minimum balance or something like that. So I didn't know they had a buffer, where Top Step doesn't have a buffer.
Yeah.
If you get 5 winning days and your account balance is at $800, you can pull out $400. You can pull out half your account. Um, so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
That's one little rule that I was not really aware of. I just didn't read close enough, I guess. I just assumed they were trying to kind of copy Top Step, so I just assumed they copied everything, but they didn't. Um, so yeah, there's that, and then I'm still running my Futures Desk account. I've not passed the account with them. I think I've shared on here how much I just absolutely hate daily base hits and
Mm-hmm.
the daily loss limit in the calculation for what size. I cannot size the way I want unless I just want to let the account run up and then not worry about having a higher profit target in that account. So yeah, there's that, and then I have, what else do I have? Yeah, I think that's about it. My Apex stuff, I got banned. I didn't get banned. I got paused at Apex. So I think I can still go buy accounts, but I don't want to because I'm a little worried that if I buy it, they're just going to ding me again because they never told me what it was.
So
So
did they shut him down?
I had 2 accounts with them. They shut them down. I'm not sure why. They just sent me a thing saying that you violated the rules and here's the rule book. Didn't say why have I nothing. It was just so I read through the rule book again and I noticed that their automation stuff, at least for the end of day accounts, is updated to be no automation whatsoever. So you can't monitor it now, where they used to. At
Yeah,
least
they.
maybe it's still true for their trailing stuff, but at least
Mm-hmm.
for their end of day ones that I bought, you can't automate at all. And then they also had VPSs on there, so you can't have a VPS. So I could have got dinged for either of those. So I don't really know which one it is.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What are I guess why do firms, why are they against VPS? Just because you can be in a country that they don't allow or something? Is that maybe the thought?
It's well, no. There's a lot of companies that will do mass copy trading with VPS stuff. So
Oh,
it's just a known avenue that traders have used to copy
yeah,
trade
like
a bunch of
copy
a bunch of
trades.
stuff. So yeah, that's as far as I'm aware. I'm not an expert in that kind of stuff. I'm sure Nara or Smooth might know a little bit
Yeah.
better than I would on that. That was just, I think somebody told me that or I read it somewhere. I'm not sure. I saw it in the
Mm-hmm.
Discord. Um, so yeah, so there's that, and yeah, man, I'm on the wagon with everybody else, just trying to get by, and took a good options trade earlier in the week, um, just manually trading, and just looking to create new stuff and um, have stuff that works. I think keeping uh, I think keeping on, at least for creators, the first and foremost thing is that we create stuff because we want stuff to work for us. It's like,
Yeah.
I think people get confused because I'm not creating stuff so I can go make a buttload of money selling my algo. That's kind of just a side effect of what we do, and I don't make a buttload of money off of my algo. So for one, Brad and I are partners, so we split everything, and it's really not like a giant sum of money that we're getting every week. So I still have bills to pay, and I still have stuff I need to get done. Somebody's asking in the chat, which strategy is bro trading? I mean,
what I'm sorry, you broke up. What strategy? What?
Somebody asked in the chat. It doesn't look like the chat's showing up on the stream, so.
What strategy, bro?
Are you talking to Kevin or myself? Probably me, because I was talking. I run a bunch of different stuff. I mean, I have Market Ninja on a funded account. I have my Kairos MA strategy on ES on my funded account with Lucid. And then I have tons of evals that I run different things on. GC strategy that I've been trying out with bands, Kairos bands, which so I don't recognize your name in the chat, so maybe you're not familiar with the store at the marketplace with ClearEdge. Maybe I have met you, I don't recognize your name on YouTube. But yeah, it's if you go to the ClearEdge marketplace and you just kind of scroll through the strategies, I have them all, and I run different ones at different times. I fiddle around with a lot of stuff, and then I create more stuff. So Kevin and I have been talking about just the concept of key levels in trading and key levels in algos. So that's been something that's been on my mind, and I know Kevin's worked on stuff like that too. Been working on stuff like that. So there's a lot of different stuff. If you need recommendations, we can jump on a call. There's a link to Calendly. I posted it several times in the Discord if you're there, but I can post it again. And through the website, if you sign up, I think you can also schedule a Calendly appointment and just go over strategies, just what would fit your personality best. Because I mean, we all have different ways that we trade and what we like. So there's lots of different things and options for you on the store.
Yeah. And yeah, just for me, what I run, pretty similar to you, David, just whatever, in the 3-minute MNQ for Ninja unfunded, the GC one I just posted last week, the 1-minute GC unfunded. I run my MES Rangers unfunded, both MNQ and MES. So pretty much everything that I have out, I'm running personally on funded accounts. So like you were saying, it's not the fact that we just want to create these and make a bunch of money off people and then not run them ourselves. The whole reason I think we do create is so we can run them ourselves. At least, that's my thought behind this whole thing, right? Like, I enjoy making them, and it's something I enjoy doing. So yeah, why not help out other people that need help in this area to run stuff. It's kind of how I look at it, right? Because you're right. I mean, yeah, we make some money, but it's not anything crazy, right? And you'll make a heck of a lot more trading once these, once the market gets in tune and these algos start really performing like in a little bit different environment like they have been. You'll make a ton more trading than you will on subscription. So yeah, so to people that are in the chat or newer to ClearEdge, that's not David and mine's goal here. Our goal is to help the community, help you guys consistently get better ourselves, so we can be an asset to the community and help people.
Sanjay says, by default, I leave the systems on all the time, but I've noticed a couple of times it dropped. Interestingly, if I avoid market open and turn on my manual trade after 10 a.m. to avoid news events. Yeah, man, there's lots of different ways to kind of go about it. If you're having issues with it turning off, I'll definitely open a support ticket. So we can take a look at your logs and kind of see what's going on with that. We would definitely want to get that fixed for you.
Yeah, definitely do that, because I literally I turn mine on my computer, and I don't really ever touch it all week, unless there's, of course, I check it once a day or twice a day to make sure there's no errors. But yeah, definitely open a ticket and help or have the ClearEdge team help.
Yeah, Sanjay. Honestly, it's this is my opinion, maybe some other people, and I know we've talked about it on the stream before, but if you're taking a strategy that was optimized for electronic trading hours, meaning that it doesn't have a time filter on, but it might have, like, say, a no trade zone where it doesn't trade like past 3 o'clock, where prop firms are starting to close down and you don't want to break a rule. If it's optimized for that, like, you should trade that. You should not try to trade it just a certain time of day. Um, you can either ask me. I'm sure, I know Kevin's really busy right now, but being able to just go on and learn how to create settings from scratch, start with your time filter on. If you want to trade between, um, I don't know, say midnight and 6 a.m., and you just want that to be your time that you're trading, then optimize for that. Set your settings for that specific time and adjust your risk and what the algo is doing for that time period. I would not recommend taking one that uses electronic trading hours, trades all the time, and then just setting a time filter on it so that it only trades a certain amount of time. Because we have not backtested for that. That's not, we don't have the data going into it to have any assurance that that's going to work. You could get lucky, and I would consider it just luck. If you hit a good winner and you're doing great with it at a certain time, I mean, I don't think that's really supported by the data. Like, to me, I wouldn't do it because, like, I don't see the data behind that, unless I specifically went in and checked it and, like, made sure that the time filters that checked out for those times. Then I would not want to run that way.
Yeah, and kind of how you can do that, right, is I'm pretty sure David includes all of the time filters in his algos, and I do too. You can just go in there and, the avoid times or whatever time blocks or whatever blocks the time that you're thinking of, right? Just go in there and start turning it on and playing with the time, and then watch your P&L and your drawdown on your strategy report and trading view. And then if the data supports you having it off at that time from a meaningful back test, by all means, go ahead and use it. I generally will check some spot checks with that stuff when I do it, because I know some of the times, just off the top of my head, that some of these markets like to kind of not be very great. But honestly, it happens so not very often where I'll find something will be better with turning it off, right? There's no consistency with that for what I've tested. Now, again, you could have a time that of, because there's a lot of good traders that, like, know all these times that they've studied on these charts where certain markets do certain things. I'm just a general time person. It's like, okay, well, don't trade between, like, maybe 8:30 and 9:30 or something, or like maybe the first 30 minutes or something. But all that stuff I've tested with everything I've got, and nothing's ever tested better doing that. So anyway.
Yeah. And you definitely don't know. And you are trading Apex, so I mean, you're going to have to be careful on your time constraints anyways. So you are going to want to make sure that's not trading 24 hours a day, just because they are so. I mean, they say that you can't automate all the time where you can't see it and you can't pay attention to it. So just be careful with that. What improvements will be made on the new Ninja settings? Yeah, I mean, he put out a new version a couple days ago for that.
Yeah, the one I'm going to be releasing here this weekend. I'll just share my screen. I can just show you. I'm not done with it. I still got a couple features to program, so I'm not done with it. But here's the where is it? Is it this one? Yeah. So this is the current version that I released this week. So 67 and 452. And then this is the new one I'm working on with. There's one new feature active and live right now, so 74 and 349. So about $1,000 here and about $100 less of drawdown just with that one feature activated right now. So I'm pretty happy with that. Just with that one feature, but there's a couple more that I still got to get through. So hopefully we can get it even better. But you never really know until you program. So. Yeah, we'll work at it and have that out by Sunday night for next week.
Yeah. So one thing that I wanted to talk about on here, and I know we talked a little bit about some of this on the stream earlier on the Discord, or Nara was, and actually Gov mentioned it just specifically around these high VIX times. For one, um, it can get very difficult with these algos because we are, what was the wording that Nara used? I think he called it imperfect. So we're using an imperfect system to where our executions are not on the dot as if you're clicking the button. We wish they were, but we use TradingView. So there is going to be delays, um, and there is going to be issues, especially when we get in a high VIX environment. Is that MNQ or gold? He's talking about MNQ.
Yeah, this one's MNQ. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's so sizing down was something that Gov mentioned. If you are running even in an eval, like you don't have like Lucid has evals that you don't even have to pay for every month. Like just take it slow. I mean, I'm even doing that in some of my accounts because I'm just like I'm tired of blowing stuff. I'm like, dude, I'm getting tired of this, man. I set myself a budget, so I'm not going outside of my plan or my budget, but it's like my return on investment lately has not been anything close to what I need it to be and what I want it to be. So it's definitely something that I'm looking into is, hey, look, I just may need to just size down and just take it slow and just let this market kind of ride out. Let some of the indecision that's in the market right now play out, and see. I mean, there'll be better times. I mean, Nara was talking about the VIX getting crushed, and uh, things could go very quickly back to a low VIX environment, and we could see uh, just where 10-point targets in ES are just crazy big, and you're like, you just don't even get a 10-point trade. So just lots to consider. But
yeah, and something else just to add to that, David, I was thinking about the other day is, we create these strategies, right, in environments that are fairly normal, right? With the VIX being, 15 to, let's just call it 17, 18, 19. And that's what the backtests kind of reflect, right? Because over that period of time, if you average out the VIX during the backtest time, let's just say 90 days, that's where the VIX has been, right? It's been in that average that I just stated. So if we're taking data and then creating settings for that normal environment, and all of a sudden we get abnormal, 20 plus and, 27, I think, yeah, it's at 27 today. That's when the stuff starts breaking. And that's why I think you saw a lot of this stuff this week didn't do well, because this isn't a normal environment, right? And everybody's got to kind of keep that in mind with, sizing, performance, and just kind of expectations, right? Now, that's not to say we can't adjust and make things better, but a lot of the stuff that we create is for the average times of the market, which is most of the time, right? We're not in most of the time. I'll just put it that way. Normally, we're in a VIX environment that's under 20, right, or right around there. So it's, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, just kind of touching on that expectation / sizing / performance is really just important to keep in mind when you're doing all this stuff. Wild Texan, thank you. Appreciate the comments.
yeah,
Always trying to work hard for you guys and put the best out that we can. So appreciate it.
yeah, I mean, and we're only 3 months into the year. So, I mean, put it in context. We have a lot of year to trade. This is not the make or break moment for this year. Honestly, all this stuff is going to be write-offs for me anyway. So all my combine fees and all my stuff. So it's like I'm not too concerned about it. And we have so much of the year left to go. I mean, there's going to be lots of market environments that we can, different VIX environments that we can add new stuff to. And we're always playing this game. Same as manual trading. You're always playing the game as you have a set system, and the system works. Like it can find the right direction, such as Market Ninja. It was finding the right direction, but it wasn't. It was taking losers. So if it's finding the right direction, so the set system that it's built on is fine. So then it becomes about adjustments, and you never know if the adjustment's going to work perfectly. This is all that's where discretion is huge in automated trading, to where like we have to adjust things when certain things happen, such as Market Ninja didn't have big enough stops, or maybe it wasn't taking the right entries, whatever it is. Those little things need tweaking and need to adjust, and they're not guaranteed. So we're going to adjust those things, and then we're going to test them. And then sometimes we even like when we test for a day or two, and then we let other people use it. A day or two is not a long enough sample size for us to say this works and is guaranteed to work. Nothing is guaranteed to work, but it's just so much of that stuff. If you came from manual trading, you already know these principles. Like you already know that you're going to have to adjust. The best traders adjust.
Yeah, it's like,
Mike Bellafiore, the one good trade guy, the one that shoot, what's his capital, his prop firm called IMB Capital or something like that.
I think
Yeah,
that's right. IMB
yeah.
Capital.
So one of the best prop firms that's ever existed, like a brick and mortar prop firm. Like he says in his book, like the reason why he has so much success is not because he had a great strategy. He has had several adjustments and even changing to where different environments, market environments, were doing different stuff. And in that, he's had to have trial and error. And what separated him above the rest is his ability to adjust and his ability to stick with it and not to give up for one, and to actually just stick with it and keep trying new stuff and keep trying to adjust to what the market's doing. And you will find success if you stick with this.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just in a part of the cycle that is just a little different. So I think that's the most important part, is just to stick with it and size appropriately. Yeah, and just that's the name of the game, is to stay alive in automation. And when you're alive and you do catch the run, it's hang on, because it's generally a pretty good ride.
Yeah, yeah. And I
Yeah.
like running strategies that are not doing great. Like I don't like to use them when they're doing terrible. That sucks. But when they're like kind of break even, a little bit red every day, maybe a little green one day, a little red, a little break even, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, well, this is not failed. This is still working. It's
Hmm.
just around break even, and I like running those strategies, and I'll just keep with them because I'm like, bands was a good example of that. MNQ bands. A little over a month ago, Brad and I had a conversation, and we're like, this is nuts. Like we're creating stuff and it's falling off. Like why is this happening? And we're like, is this an overfitting situation to where like we're just way overfitting it? And that was like the question in our mind, and we're like, well, let's actually get a good sample size. Let's not optimize again, and let's just leave everything for a month. So we left it for a month, and you know what Band's MNQ 5 minute did? It broke its all-time high on its P&L curve. So it came back after a month and it broke its high. I don't know what it did today, but I mean, I'm sure it's not doing bad.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's that happened. I saw tons of people that were passing combines and stuff on the Kairos Discord that was using bands and other stuff. So I mean, sticking with stuff and just not giving up um, is going to be a big key to just long-term success in this game.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's important to, especially when you're new, it's very important.
Yep. And
Um,
and I don't want to like sound like I have found the holy grail and I know exactly how to be profitable all the time. I don't. It's I'm had a great year last year, and it's like coming into this year had high expectations to be doing great, and we've had a 3 months where I'm not pulling out a lot. I've only taken a couple payouts from prop firms. Um, I've done all right in my manual trading. I only manual trade options really. It's really all I do now, and only a few trades, maybe a month, if that. So it's like it's just how it is sometimes, and I look forward to the coming years or the coming months to where things, like I said in the beginning of the chat, there's times like last year where it just felt like everything I touched was gold. Like it just turned to gold. I was like, I could make mistake. I could exit trades early, do the worst, just stupid stuff that you shouldn't do with automation, and like I was still winning and still pulling massive payouts and still like just winning every single day. So I was like, you will have those times, And it's what you're doing in this time that's going to affect how much you're going to make in those times. Because if I could go back and I could learn some of the stuff that I've learned in the harder times, it would be don't touch those trades. Like let it run. Uh, don't 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 shut something off because it has a bad day. Those type of things like just absolutely kill your profits. It's the from the book One Good Trade, or not One Good Trade. What's that one book? I forget the guy's name. He talks about letting his winners run. Do you know what book I'm talking about? It's Best Loser Wins. Best Loser
Oh yeah,
Wins.
yeah.
Yeah. So Best Loser Wins. It's like you learn to lose well, and then the times when you're doing well, you're going to have that psychology in place, and you can just apply it to winning as you did for losing, sticking with something,
Yeah,
not swapping stuff around.
you bring that up, and it just kind of a thought came into my head about just winning in general. Um, Especially for anybody that's new too, and you're trying out different strategies, and some are winning, some are losing, some are up, and some are down. You also have to take into consideration, because there's some newer people that are like, oh, the Ninja lost like this many in a row. Yeah, it did have a bad week. I mean, there's no taking away from that. But also, this strategy only does have a 59% win rate, right? So that's only 9% better than half, right? But look how profitable it is, right? So there's going to be some strategies that have a very high win rate, but they're not as, maybe they're not super profitable either. So like win rate is only part of the equation when you're looking at these things, right? I mean, I think, David and I have discussed too, and the reason why this could, or any algorithm that has a, maybe a lower win rate, but still has a good P&L curve, is because generally its winners are bigger than its losers, right? And it's what we try to do in manual trading, right? Just depending on what you're going for. That's a whole different topic. But let's just say you are going for a higher, let's just say you are going for a bigger winner than a loser, so to speak, in your manual trading plan. Same thing applies here, right? Like you might just win. There's some great strategies too. Automation strategies only win like 42% of the time, but their P&L curve looks like this too, right? Like where it's a great P&L curve, but they only win 42%. So if you're someone that gets like really discouraged and seeing, something lose small a lot, that might be something you need to think about. Like, do I like running this? Or can you reframe your mindset to say, oh, now I understand that this thing only wins this much of the time, but then when it wins bigger, right? Like that's a part of this too. When you're just getting into all the automation stuff, is to like, I don't know, just think about that kind of stuff, because like I said, there's profitable strategies. I'm running one right now in testing. I think it is 42%, but it's got a crazy awesome P&L curve like this. So
Yeah.
You do have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, there's lots of things that you should look at when considering a strategy. I actually have been leaning more towards looking at what the P&L curve is doing than looking at that max equity drawdown, because the max equity drawdown is just telling you how many trades in a row it took from its high. So it's just basically telling you a losing streak. So the max losing streak was $349, but that doesn't tell you if it lost $349, took a couple wins, lost $349 again, took a couple wins, lost for $349 again. The P&L curve will tell you that. So if you're looking at the curve and what it's doing, you're seeing how it's moving and where the dips are. Does it keep on going up? Am I starting a strategy with it pointed up? Like what does the P&L curve look like? Because all max equity drawdown, and this is I think an example I brought up to you, Kevin, was like if you have a 50% strategy, so it's a 50% chance that you win and a 50% chance that you lose. You're basically flipping a quarter. Now, if you flip that quarter 50 times and you land on tails, say that represents the max equity drawdown, say you land on tails 10 times and you land on heads 40 times, does that actually change the statistics of what the next 50 flips are going to be? It doesn't change the statistics at all. So that's where doing that in tandem with what the P&L curve is doing. I like to look at something that's called a win rate differential, to where you're looking at basically it's comparing R&R, your risk to reward, to your profitable trades. So your win percentage is getting compared to your R&R, and you're getting a difference between the break-even win rate and what your actual win rate is. And I like that a lot. And the max equity drawdown often correlates with that number anyways. So, but I would caution people just not to just look at this max equity drawdown, divide it by the total P&L, and say that's the end all be all. That's what I'm looking for in a strategy. Because I'm finding that less and less so am I looking at that. More and more so am I looking at what is the difference between if this strategy is break even, and what the win rate is currently at. So right now you're at 59.57%, and I know most of your stuff is 2-to-1 risk to reward. That's insane. Like you'd be making money if this was a 1-to-1 risk to reward.
Right. Exactly. Now. Exactly.
So the fact that it's at 59% and it's a 2-to-1 risk to reward, like that's a much more statistic that I care about. And your max equity drawdown could be 2-3 times as much for all I care, because I'm going to want to see what is the difference between if I'm a break even on this strategy and as if I'm actually, and what the actual win rate's at. And then profit factor, I don't think many of us really pay close attention to profit factor.
I don't weight that too heavy. I mean, generally, if these numbers look good, this will look good too. So it's kind of just like an after fact. I don't really look at that. I mean, that's the let's go to the current one here. And then another thing too with that is also, guys, like you can come down here and see like these little periods in red. You can kind of just hover over them and see what the normal period of drawdown is. It'll give you the dates, how long that lasted. It'll also give you the dollar amount too, right? So like this one lasted a day, it was a couple $100. This one looks like it lasted, a day, it was $308. So you can kind of come down here and do this with these strategies, right? And like see what's normal. March 9th through the 13th, that was this week. So like 416. So you were definitely in a heavier period of drawdown, and now you're coming back out of it, right? So the real, well, this will change because I'm updating it. But like if you ran this and continued, let's just say I didn't do updates, the real testament to the strategy for me would be to see, okay, well, we went through our period of drawdown now and we've come out of it as of today, right? We're green again on after this little red blip. Let's see how it does next week, right? And now next week, if we see something like this, like we get these nice green bars next week with maybe a red or, tiny red one like this, that just tells me that, okay, like this is normal activity for what I've got going on right now, right? Like this is normal. It's done this before, right? So I'm not going to be too worried. Now, next week, if I see big red bars again next week and nothing gets green, like that's when I start asking myself, okay, is this the environment, or like what else can we do? And how is this thing losing? What can I adjust potentially to like make this better in this environment, right? So it's kind of how I look at these algorithms too.
Yeah, there's lots of ways to look at it too. It's Nara's going to have his own opinions about stuff. I remember when we were looking at Secret Lab and making settings for NQ on that, he like just took out Asia session because he was like, I don't know if it actually made the back test better or not, but he was just like, I don't like how it trades in Asia session, so I'm going to take it out. And that was a discretionary thing to where maybe the back test didn't show anything better, but he had a thesis going into the market, and he enacted his thesis. He played it out. Win or lose, he played it out, and that's the outcome was the outcome. I don't know how well that went, but
yeah, but it's all this stuff. Even though we make the settings and everything, they're really just bases for you guys to hopefully work off of, or run. Obviously, a lot of people run them, and that's awesome. That's great. But yeah, feel free. I mean, if you guys don't like a certain time and it makes you feel better running it or more comfortable running it, by all means, omit a session or change the times if you have to. I'm a big data person, so unless I've said this before, unless the data reflects that it's going to be better, I adjust for data. That's all I do. If the P&L is bigger and the drawdown smaller, that's really what I'm basing my thesis and how I like to run stuff off of. And then I adjust in the future from there if I need to, but that's kind of what I go for.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, I'll say it again. There's lots of ways to do this, and
there's no wrong way, right?
Finding your own idea going into this, and it takes time to like look at these charts and to kind of understand what you're looking at with these back tests. And sometimes that means you might need to bite the bullet and get a higher subscription to TradingView, so you're not seeing just like a week of data or whatever it is. I don't know what the lower plans get for the amount of bars that they can see. But maybe that's what it is, and start backtesting stuff for 3 months or a little bit longer and start seeing some of the results for that and flipping through settings, seeing what the different risk profiles are going to do to a strategy, to understand some of that stuff, because that's what's going to give you an extra edge in the market over guys that are just going to always be and nothing against, like, I get people have work and people don't have a lot of time, so they came into automated trading because they're like, well, I love trading, I want to be in the markets, so I want something that can keep me in the markets while I'm also doing my job and work, and hopefully at some point this will make enough money for me that like maybe I can not work as much or whatever it is, or maybe down in the future you're gonna want to really tweak stuff, and right now in this time period you're relying on other people making settings. Get it? There's totally all different types of situations. But as far as traders and taking responsibility for what we're doing, that's still always going to need to be a thing for you. You need to make sure that you're taking responsibility. When you run somebody else's settings, you're trusting that they did their research, and and even if they did all the research in the world and they tested everything, forward tested it, it was all looking great. There's no guarantees in this. You could still fail. And that's where prop firms make their money is failing traders. So I mean, we're in an industry that like that's these companies that we're trading with. I mean, that's their business model is they need you to fail in order for their models to succeed. And still, traders make a lot of money still in this, even with all our odds against us. Still, with all these issues that can happen, if you have a good mindset and you have a solid strategy, it doesn't have to be the holy grail strategy, but you have something that's solid, like you can make money in these markets, and you can make money with prop firms and take payouts.
Yeah, as long as you're sized appropriately for the market environment, that's really the most important thing that you can you can do. Seeing a 20 plus VIX last week, I adjusted my size this week on all my stuff, right? Now, did I still have a bad week? Yeah, but it didn't hurt as bad as it would have if I, was sized in my accounts. I was under appropriate sizing this week and everything I ran. Why? Yeah. Because I knew that going into this week, I was like, 27 VIX or 20 plus VIX. Like, even if we hit stuff, it's not going to be great, right? Like, it's just, I don't know. It's just, to me, going into a market that has that much volatility, it just doesn't make me feel good. So again, I was running, I think my Ranger accounts were up like $100 or $200 only, and they're 150K accounts. But guess what? I didn't blow them, right?
Yeah.
So that's good, right? And granted, that one did okay, but this week, now, MES, not MNQ. MNQ didn't think it was just a little bit a trade or two down this week, but still, like, I sized down in that one as well this week. It was, you this is automated trading, but there's still very much thought that needs to go into your plan every week on what the actual market is doing. And that's what I think when you're new in this, it's very important to understand that as quickly as possible. This isn't a magic bullet. This isn't set it, forget it, and I'm going to be, make a ton of money. There's still some thought. There's still some setup. There's still some understanding. This just shortens the learning curve of becoming a manual profitable trader, right?
Yeah.
Like Nara always says, it generally takes about 2 to 3 years for a manual trader to become profitable, and a whole lot of time and money. We can shorten that with automation, about 2 to 3 months, a whole lot less money. You still will fail in that amount of time. You still will blow accounts. There's no guarantee in that. But if you stick around long enough, size appropriately, apply the teachings that everybody in this community will gladly teach, you eventually have a very good possibility of becoming, successful with this, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
there's some guys that you just like look at and you don't worry about too much. Like in the Discord, Lawn Forger, like the guy's been losing for months now, and it's just like I feel so bad
yeah,
for him because I'm
yeah.
like this guy, like he just sticks with stuff and he seems to just let it run, and yet he still has not had success in this, and it's like that happens. Like you never know what's going to happen. You never know what the future is going to be. But I just don't ever worry about Lawn Forger. I'm sorry. I probably do know his real name. He probably told me. I don't.
I
It's
think
not
it's
coming to the top of
I
my head.
think it's Lawrence. I think his name is
Okay.
Lawrence.
So yeah, Lawrence. Yeah, he just sticks with stuff, and like I have no worries about him long term because I'm like the guy is just gonna still be on the chat, still talking to us, still saying whatever he says in the chat. So I mean, it's like there's just no concern over like somebody in the chat that's like that.
But he's been around and learned a lot, and
Yeah,
he's really taken the guidance from people that he's talked to, it seems, and he's stick, and that's exactly what we need to do. And it's unfortunate. I mean, he seems to be doing all the right things. It's just really catching the market at a weird time, within the last month or so. I think he's not been all red completely, but maybe more so than not. I'm not sure 100%, but yeah, David, that's a perfect example of you can do everything right and look at all these back tests; they can be perfect, and the outcome might not meet expectations.
yeah, yeah, and he'll have future success at some point. If you stick with
Hey,
something long enough, you're gonna have success with it, and um, yeah, so it's nice not to worry about some people. Um, Other guys where it's like get really down on themselves when they start losing, or um, if you get funded accounts and you lose those funded accounts, or whatever the situation is that is going to frustrate you. Um, it's those times and what your outlook is during those times that's going to define you in the future.
yeah, I think the most important part is if you do, lose an account or lose a funding, you understand why, right? I think number one, if anybody was on during lunch with Nara, you could set everything up perfectly. And number one reason, not number one reason, but like no, a reason could just be market conditions, right? That you lose an account. Okay, that's just part of doing business, right? Cost of business. It's going to happen. The other reason you can lose accounts, evals, and/or funded is not being sized appropriately, and that's really the one that you want to pay attention to and review why you lost that account if you lose it. Is, was I sized appropriately for this market, for these market conditions? Was I running appropriately, right?
Yeah,
Um, because that's the most important thing. And if the answer is no, then obviously adjust.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is not a time to be size crazy. We're just not seeing the win streaks um, that I would want to, that I would feel comfortable sizing up. So it's just kind of a survive game right now. Some
Yeah. And
accounts
hopefully
are
we,
making money and some aren't. I mean, it's just the way it goes.
hopefully we can, I don't know, hopefully we can get some more normalcy next week and, um, maybe tweak some settings around some algorithms to, be more, forgiving in this environment too.
Yeah. One thing that you can, and I think both you and I did it, is uh, we were starting to see this VIX pop up, and like we were seeing a little bit of different price action from what was going on previously. And it's like I love going to ES when that happens. Like I still use the same strategies and concepts, But like I start using ES, I can lower my risk way lower. If you're trading one MES on my strategies that I like to run, like that's a $50 loss, $50 win, $50 loss on like my favorite stuff. So it's like you can really go down in size and just get your emotions in check and just like follow those losses, follow those wins, um, and that's really helpful. So don't strategy hop, but sizing down or going from NQ to ES, like those are two options for you. If you really have that itch to make sure that you're changing something that's actually logically makes sense. Size down or go from NQ to ES. Metals right now,
Also a good recommendation. You know, if things are volatile with the market, generally gold and generally gold and NQ are going to be going crazy. So yeah, I mean, why not just look into maybe looking into something a little more tame like ES.
Yeah,
That's also a good strategy, right? Just find some settings that you like with an algorithm and don't run NQ or GC right now.
yeah,
That's also a good plan.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No problem. Yeah, I heard some people had some success with M2K or RTY, which is a little bit slower mover. So it's uh, there's options out there. NQ, it's all until I got into automating, I never even really traded NQ. So it's like it's kind of a newer thing to me because I've always liked ES. I've always
You were a
liked how
big
it
ES
moves.
guy.
Yeah, it's just that's where I made money. It just didn't make
Mhm.
sense to switch stuff up when like I would go over to NQ and get wicked out on stuff. I'm just like, this is dumb. You'd have great moves when you won, but like the consistency of ES was always why I tended towards it more, and that's why I liked it a little bit more. It's it's just a very stable instrument. It's just very very predictable. I hate use the word predictable, but it is. Um, it's just a very stable instrument, in my opinion, to use. It's
Yeah, it's definitely and that's the thing. I was an NQ trader, so I my go-to is kind of always NQ, but I don't. I mean, I'm getting better at automating an NQ, but even Nar will say like he doesn't love NQ. Before he, I think, started running anything that you or I put out on NQ. I don't think he really ran NQ with automation because really everything he had tried in the past, I don't think he cared for, which is understandable. It's a hard market to be mechanical with because it's
yeah,
so crazy,
yeah.
you know?
There's settings for Ninja using ES. Yeah, he has.
Hmm.
He puts them out. I don't know how they've been performing.
Yeah, I was actually just gonna pop over there and see if I could open that up. MES here.
Also, his Ranger has ES settings. Took 3 wins today. I heard.
Oh yeah, well, so this week, yeah. So if you
Or
have the
this week.
Ranger at all, Estro, the Ranger actually did on MES did good this week. It only took 3 trades, but they were 3 winners. So I mean, it doesn't, this algorithm doesn't trade every day. It especially in this market, it hasn't. It had not a great week last week. Of course, I had to release it last week, but no, I mean, this is a great. This has just been super consistent from everyone in this since about December, and this one's been really consistent, and it's even had a consistent year too. Um, and this is one MES contract, so you can obviously adjust that. I run what do I run 7 or 10, so that's like the year-long back test. So it's had its periods just like everything else of drawdown, but this one's a really nice, like I said, just consistent runner for me. That if you have the Ranger, that's an option for you. I don't know. Oh, here we go. MES. Oh, that was the wrong one. Um,
Yeah, and if you can't help yourself but size up, like I guess Ranger would be the way to go because it doesn't take as many trades. You can get just smashed if you're using something like bands that is going to take 5 to 10 trades in a day. So Seems like Ninja or Ranger would be a good
Yeah, Ranger generally takes
option.
like two to three in a day. All right, so this is our MES. How do we do this week? I haven't looked at this yet. Sunday to here. Oh, it actually looks like it did pretty bad. Yeah, so yeah, it didn't have a great week either. But this is one I hope to work on. I'm finishing up these new improvements in Ninja overall, and then I'm going to try and use them for from other markets. I'm doing the I'm doing the MNQ ones first, just because I think a lot of people were running it in that market. So I was really focusing on that, but hopefully I can get to adjusting these MES settings too, because it'd be nice to have a little bit better performance out of this market for this algo.
Yep. And I'm excited for key level stuff coming out from both of us. I don't know when you're going to get around to
my key level stuff. So I got the Ninja updates, and then I've been working on another one called the Cowboy. That one I'm actually like 98% done with that one. I don't know when that one will be out. I'll just have to see and think about that one. But yeah, the levels one too. I've been kind of bouncing back and forth between the Cowboy and the levels. But the levels is a little bit off still. But maybe we'll get there in the next couple of weeks to a month. The levels one I've just been doing like testing on practice accounts with just going through some different ideas and stuff. So I haven't 100% gotten something I like love on that one yet, but yeah, maybe soon. But you've got your levels one that you've been working on a little bit, so I know that hopefully that'll be out in not too long.
Yeah, it's just we think you helped me out with figuring out why repainting stuff, and it's hopefully moving forward it's going to work really well. And the only thing is I want to worry about it is it taking good trades. I don't want to worry about, oh, are we going to see ghost trades? Are we going to see? So that's the only thing that holds these back from getting released, is like sometimes it takes a lot of testing, and it takes all the clear edge guys, us all testing something, and putting it through the ringer, putting something on. For example, what we can do is we'll set alerts on like Bitcoin to where it runs over the weekend, and we'll just let it take alert after alert after alert, and just set it so it has like 5,000 trades, and just let it go, and then monitor and kind of see how stuff works. I think you do a thing with replay, right? Too. I tried that actually today. Going through replay. Did that actually work?
Oh yeah, replay will actually mimic the live trading environment 100%. So whatever you see in replay will actually come up in real life on a chart. So how you can notice repainting in a strategy is if let's just say you had a trade, let's just say you had this trade or something, right? And it shows it on the chart, right? So you mark it. I've adjusted this so these aren't 100%, but what I do is I mark lines on the chart like this to signify a trade, and then all I do to check for repainting is I'll just go back here like this, and then I'll this might not be loaded. Oh, it's not loaded yet. All right, so now you got that. So what I do to check for repainting is I'll just go ahead and let replay run, and then all of my trades that come up on these lines in replay that were, I marked on the original chart, if they're the same, you have no repainting going on. But let's just say I mark this trade right here, right? And then in replay, this trade wasn't on, it didn't come up in replay, or let's just say this trade happened like right here. Then I know I have a repainting issue. So
I just didn't know it worked with replay. So I've always forward tested to find repainting.
Which easier. Yeah, so that's your kind of repainting replay method, and then for the ghost trades or stress test, what I'll do is I'll take a 15-second chart, and I'll do a setup on a 15-second chart, and then I'll let it run for, how many ever days or whatever, and just double check alerts to like trades and all that kind of stuff. After I've gone through this is kind of like the first step of the process. And I always do 100 trades like this. So that generally spans you almost the whole time without having to, go back with the select bar even further. It'll span that time. And that generally covers like maybe a whole month of trading. So I always feel comfortable that like when I do updates or like, whatever I'm working on the algo, before I release it, I go through and mark my 100 trades or mark a certain time period back. And then I'll just let this run for, a half hour, 45 minutes, whatever it's going to take. And then I'll go back and I'll look at each one of them, make sure they're in the proper space or spot, make sure I don't have any extras, make sure nothing is different from what I have on my chart. And then I can comfortably know that, I more than likely I'm not going to have any issues running it live. And then, of course, I go and test it live, do the stress test. And then, of course, it goes out to, for an official publication to everybody. So that's just kind of my process, what I've come up with. And it seems to work pretty good. So.
Yeah. I need to start doing that process, because my process is give it to a bunch of people to test. Say, hey guys, go throw this on some accounts and go get a bunch of blown accounts or something crazy. Actually, it was funny when I first put out key levels. I didn't put it out. When I first created it, and I was like, hey, and I gave it to several people to try. Obviously, with them knowing full well that, hey, this is a beta strategy, so just we're testing stuff. But they might throw it on combines, and it's like, it actually had like a really killer hot streak. No ghost trades, no repainting. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be great. Monday came the next week, and it just all went downhill. It was like ghost trades, alerts were popping up where there was no trade. There was repainting on it. It was just like a shit show completely. It just went so bad so quick. I was like, wow, this sucks. So that's what's led to this whole week of just working on it. And I think the outcome's pretty good. It's quite a bit different than what it originally was, but I think it's still good.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll get it great, just like every other algo that you guys have. Looking forward to testing it at some point. There's more steps into how you can go about doing this too, but I'll just leave the basic for this chat here. But if you ever need help going even deeper into debugging / troubleshooting, there's a whole nother. There's more options. Let's just put it that way. So.
Yep. Yeah. I put a Verip code on mine to where it like alerted me if there's a mid bar. The confluences are met mid bar, so it would tell me that. There's a few things I tried to try to fix it myself. Not being a coder, it's one of the reasons why Brad and I are partners in this, is he knows how to write code. So I guess I'm better with like concepts, not so great with code.
That's all right. You need that's a strong skill. You need and you'll get it as you work with them more. You get better. You see things, and it's just like anything else.
Yeah, but I just noticed the time. My wife is gone. She's out of town, so I don't have anywhere to go, man. I don't know how you do it as like a single guy, because like I would have so much time on my hands that like you guys would have so much stuff, and I would be just constantly doing stuff. I don't have a lot of times when I'm like all these kids. Life.
If my other job didn't keep me so busy, I would probably have a lot more stuff out too. So, between my other gig and doing all this, it's enough. And then obviously having a personal life too, but no kids, so that's a whole different story. The kids, I do know that.
Yeah. But I'll let you go, man. I know you got to get. It's an hour later for you, so it's 7 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock for me. So
I got to run. I got to run out. I'm gonna meet up with some people here shortly. So yeah, we'll end it here. But again, thank you guys for the support. Hope everyone's a good weekend. And if y'all ever need anything, DMs are open. And I will see everybody in the Discord. Have a good weekend, David.
All right. See you guys on Sunday. We have our Sunday stream. Make sure to like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. And follow us on X and Instagram and Facebook. All right, guys. Talk to you later.
All right, see you guys.